Really just about not feeling safe, not feeling welcome or accepted enough, not trusting yourself and the world around you enough to express yourself. This is where everyone's wearing a mask and being someone they're not because they don't even know who they are, because they were never even taught their options. So you live your day, what you do for work, how you act around your family, your friends, your kids. You live your life in a way that is pleasing to society rather than understanding what options you have and what you can do for yourself. That's what wounded feminine energy is. Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Shayla J. This is Chocolate Cake 101. It's like 6:30 in the morning. I'm outside. There's joggers all around me, so we're gonna get this video in. I don't know why, I got up and was like, I gotta do this now. Anyway, so first of all, thank you for being here. I'm continuing the series where I'm talking about masculine and feminine energy. I've been telling you guys, there's so much to this shit, and there's so much to this. I've been telling you guys, there's so much to this, and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and the more we talk about it, the more we see where it starts to affect you in all these different areas of your life. So I told you guys I was going to talk about the wounded feminine. This is a very sensitive topic for me because this is where a lot of my wounds are. I don't have an issue with toxic masculinity. I do have things that I've been healing with wounded feminine. And all of us do, right? Because like I said, when one is wounded, the other one is wounded too. It is literally the yin and yang, where with one is over, the other one is under. When one is over, the other one is under. I've talked about this so many times. So if you are new, don't forget to go back and check out the videos. The first video, Men Are From Mars, Women Are Venetian, that's going to be carded for you. That talks about just the basis of masculine feminine energy. Then I also go in and talk about a hyper-toxic masculine society, and now we're talking about a wounded feminine society. So this is a toxic feminine society. Again, as always, I'm going to say this is not a man-woman conversation. Man and women are just the opposite polarities of the same energy. So they're going to be the two extreme points. When you go into duality, when you go into 3D, they're going to be the lowest points. But masculine energy and feminine energy live in all of us, okay? So what is wounded feminine energy? Wounded feminine energy is, it's when the energy in you, yes, I have notes, of course, right? It's when the nurturing, loving, fun, creative, and expressive energy in you doesn't feel safe enough or good enough or welcome enough or trusting enough to express itself. So this is someone who is not afraid, who's afraid to be themselves. They're afraid to speak their mind. They're afraid to express themselves. They're afraid to create. We're talking about survivor mode. Anyone? Feeling lack of money, lack of safety, lack of emotional nurturing, lack of love, lack of romance, lack of time, so not enough time. Someone who feels unworthy, they feel unwelcomed, they don't feel safe. This is someone who's going to be a people pleaser. They don't have boundaries for themselves. When you don't have boundaries for yourself, you tend to put other people in front of you. So if there's other things that are going on with someone else and you have the opportunity to make them feel comfortable over you, you will do that. And this comes from a lot of people. They normally talk about people pleasing when they talk about narcissistic empathic relationships, but a lot of people were raised or taught that other people's emotions were more important than their own. You know how we do that to children. We act like it's whatever they feel is not important. So this starts with the children. The things that they do are not important. We make their world not important. They're not important, or they're little, they're minute. So this starts with children for a lot of people. When you learn to people please, you learn to put other people's emotions, energy above your own. This is people pleasing. This turns into pick me behavior. Pick me behavior is, hold on, because I wrote it down. You guys know what pick me behavior is, but what I wanted to say is it comes from it's more of a chaser energy. It comes from I'm not good enough, so I have to hurry up and get something or protect something or something to validate me. We seek validation outside ourselves, and that's the pick me energy. This is all wounded feminine energy. Couple that with being overly emotional, not being able to trust your emotions, not being able to have that emotional intelligence or the good mental diet, victim mentality. This is victim mentality itself, just not, I hate victim mentality. I don't hate it, I just really don't like it. This is when you're blame shifting, not taking accountability for the world around you. Everything is somebody else's fault, someone did everything to you. I talked about it in the past. This is that person where something bad is always happening to them or something crazy is always happening to them. That is what victim mentality is. I already talked about people pleasing, fear of the world, feeling unsafe, feeling unwelcome, fear and lack of faith in yourself. The main thing about wounded feminine energy is an energy that does not feel trusting or safe enough to be itself. And that is a world we live in every day because everybody wears a mask every day. We are not taught to come into this world and be whoever you decided to be when you wanted to come into this world. You are trained with specific things that you have to do to please the rest of the world. I told you we're all people pleasers. So when you think about children and you're asking kids, oh, Johnny, what do you want to be when you grow up? Johnny don't know what his options are. He doesn't know what he can be. To him, he wants to play and he wants to create, and from there he'll figure it out. But you guys give him these, not you guys, but society gives him rules of areas of where he could be in based off of the color of his skin, the content of his character, what you think he's good at, how smart he is, where he lives at. So like I said in the past, if you're a little black kid, it's you're a basketball player or a rapper. Those are your options. Other times it's, do you want to be a police officer or a firefighter? Do you want to be a nurse or a cosmetologist? You know what I'm saying? So we put people in a box, and for the rest of their life, we train them up in this box. And then school itself does not honor a creative and nurturing, unless you go to like a Montessori school, right? Or homeschool. But school itself trains you to be in a masculine energy, so to speak, because they say that the way school's taught is very feminine because I really don't feel like even going there because I don't really agree with that. But so this is kind of like outside my realm. But the way that school is taught, it's very structured and it's very lifeless. So what does wounded feminine globally, what does it look like in our society? We already talked about that. We're starting to talk about that. This looks like a lack of emotion. We have been taught to not care about people's emotions. When you go to school, you're not taught to how to regulate. Nobody's taught, let's teach yourself, how to regulate their own emotions, how to manage people around them. Not that it's your job, but what to do. So we're not taught emotional intelligence. We're not taught empathy or grace. We are literally taught to deal with things that are from a logical standpoint and what we can interpret factually, which is very masculine. But the world is emotional. And that starts to play out when we ignore emotions. Then it becomes a mental health situation or a violent situation. So we ignore emotions. We tend to ignore the emotions of people until it becomes something that is violent toward all of us, toward that person, or something that is not acceptable by society mentally. And if we approached emotions as a way of life and as something that you're going to have and that you need to learn how to handle for the rest of your life from child, teaching children about feelings, teaching children about each other, teaching children about regulating themselves through meditation, taking time out and understanding themselves, allowing them to be themselves. If we tackle this at young ages and throughout society, throughout time, throughout school, then we would have a lot less violence. Like I said, we're not wanting a world with less violence because we want to keep you weak so that we have control over things. I don't know if I said that. This is about survival mode. So, globally, what this looks like is survival mode, divide and conquer, discouragement of emotions leading to mental health and violent outbreaks, degrading music, people who lack self-worth, pygmies, murder, court, crime shows being the epitome of all freaking TV. Every time you turn on TV, it's murder, it's crime, or it's something with martial law taking over. It's always about fear. It's also always about separating us. So black, white, male, female, rich, poor, Republican, Democrat, red, blue. You know what I'm saying? Because to divide is to take the oneness, the I am out of us, taking the love out of us, helping you more with blaming instead of taking accountability for the way things look like. Hold on, there's a loud truck passing me. I just wanted the truck to go by. So that he's not going by. He's about to unload all these things near me. So we're going to see how this goes. So I was talking about dividing and conquering being one of the biggest ways to keep people in fear, to keep people divided, to keep people lacking empathy and compassion for each other. So we don't want to teach emotions. We don't want to teach compassion because we need you to stay divided with silly things that aren't even really accurate, by the way. We need you to stay divided because it's a way to keep what? To keep you what? One, in survival mode, and two, blame shifting, victim mentality, fear. Oh, this is all about fear and mistrust. Okay. Degrading music. I think everybody talks about this, and I've talked about this so many times. Western urban music has to be one of the only groups of music that is self-degrading. But when you're listening to music that is bashing you, especially when you did it to a nice tune and a beat, you are essentially, people talk all the time about music being very, I don't want to say it like a spell, but alluring and magical. Music has fourth dimensional qualities. When you're adding that to degradation, to degrading music, the music that is making you, I don't understand why we have to have this talk. Is it not, it makes you feel bad. It makes you feel bad. And you're talking bad about the feminine. A lot of the rap music is degrading toward women and teaches men to not be emotional, to not love. Oh, goodness gracious. If you've not realized that all of this wounded feminine energy is creating us a world where that type of culture has trouble loving itself and loving the people outside of us. Once upon a time, the music in black culture was beautiful. 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, just beautiful. And once upon a time, the black family was beautiful and strong too. So if you don't see that there's a link between degrading music and tearing apart the family, and you have to understand music is everything, it's everywhere, and it's in all people. That's one of the biggest ways that we as a society comes together is through music. That's how we relate to each other. So when the music is bad, you best believe the people will be too. sorry, it's early in the morning, you guys. Let me hurry this up because, like I said, it's getting a lot. So I was talking about also the huge, the increase in murder shows, court shows, and crime shows. When you have these shows that teach you about separation and violence, and they're playing all the time, you don't think that's helping to instill fear or programming within you to not trust the world around you? You have all these people that are afraid to knock on their neighbor's door. Then you know what I'm saying? We have lost touch of ourselves and the trust that we have to be in the world that we live in. You should not be afraid of your neighbor. You should not feel afraid. Ooh, I forgot I was supposed to be doing something. You should not be afraid to talk to the people around you, but you do because you have all these, you have in your head the story of what happened to this lady and that lady and this man and this sir and this people and this one, he did this, and this little boy knocked on the door and got shot and things like that. And all these stories of what happened to the rest of the world, what happened, and don't get it twisted, I'm not saying that they're not valid, but there's so much in their personal experience that led up to that incident. And when we take that in, now we are limiting ourselves and limiting our safety and limiting our protection. We're opening up the door for their experience to be ours, and that's not true. That's inaccurate. And one of the biggest things for me is powerlessness sex. Lovemaking has become, on a large scale, not personally, unemotional, unsensual, uncreative. It's just for temporary pleasure. That's not even the real pleasure that you would have if you were doing it from a powerful feminine energy rather than a weak one where you're really just trying to please, be picked, please. Okay, so wounded feminine energy, like I said in the beginning, is really just about not feeling safe, not feeling welcome or accepted enough, not trusting yourself and the world around you enough to express yourself. This is where everyone's wearing a mask and being someone they're not because they don't even know who they are because they were never even taught their options. So you live your day, what you do for work, how you act around your family, your friends, your kids. You live your life in a way that is pleasing to society rather than understanding what options you have and what you can do for yourself. That's what wounded feminine energy is. Because a balanced woman, whether it be dark energy or expressing herself, feeling confident in the world, she is one that is loving, nurturing, creative, fun. And this is life-giving to men and to all of us. And like I said, this is the feminine energy in men too. We love our good dads, our good fathers. I didn't even talk about single motherhood, you guys. Oh my gosh, that's a whole nother build. What did I want to say though, quickly about single motherhood? Single motherhood is another form of toxic masculinity that stems from having to overprotect yourself because you don't feel protected as a mother. Mothers are extremely important in this world. They're supposed to. Before we started outsourcing the home, they were the future. Mothers were the ones that raised and influenced the future, but we sent them to work and left the little sheep unprotected. See what I'm saying? And also left her exhausted because she still has to do her feminine duties and her mother duties, but she's also being a man now too. This is a lot. They say that, I don't know if you guys know who Teal Swan is. She's as far as I know, she's a huge YouTuber, but she talks a lot about dark shadows. I've been following this chick. She's probably one of the first spiritual people I followed. She's European. She has a huge, really remarkable story in life. I'll let you look that up. But she talks about the number one indicator of a good mother is her support system in the other partner. And the reason why that's so big is because if the father is protecting the family, she can now help the family thrive. But if there is no support from the father or a lack of support from the father, she has to step into the role of the protector. So she has to be in survivor mode. And now the kids are lacking the nurturing, the compassion, the love, and they also have to step up too. Everybody got to step up when daddy goes. Anyways, I'm gonna do a whole build on that because it has affected my life more than I wanted it to as an adult. And we're gonna talk about it. But I'm gonna go now. It's getting light outside. I have things to do. I'm supposed to be working, you guys. Oops. This is my job. Anyway, if you found value in this content, we're going to talk more about this. I'm sorry to have rushed it. Like I said, it's getting light. I got joggers all around me and trucks and things like that. I am Shayla Jade. This is Chocolate Cake 101. Don't forget to share this content with someone who you believe will find value in it, because if we don't start talking about these topics, then we can't fix them. And it's one thing to talk about the wounded feminine energy within you, but we don't see where it's affecting all of society so that we can make these changes. And this is a really good time with it being political season to talk about the uncomfortable conversations so that we can fix it. I'm Shayla Jade. My love is your love. Thank you for watching. Peace.